Hi everybody, and welcome to Coffee and Crafting. My name is Elizabeth and I'm with Country Peony, and Country Peony is a DIY and craft blog that focuses on simple and inexpensive crafting projects in whimsical spaces. And I am here in the studio in Texas, and it is pouring down rain. You can probably see from the window behind me. So let me know if you're having any trouble hearing me. I have my microphone on and it seems like it's working, but let me know. I would love to know where you're coming from. And I have so much fun here on Mondays. I love to enjoy a nice cup of coffee and just craft in the afternoon. And I love doing that with you. So hi, Christy. Thank you for joining me. Today we are going to make a really fun craft using vintage inspired Valentine's cards. So I say vintage inspired because the Valentine's cards that we're going to use today are not actually vintage. And I'll show you the difference. So the difference is this is an actual vintage Valentine. So I found these a couple years ago in Round Top. If you're not familiar with Round Top, please let me know if you have any questions. But essentially, it happens twice a year and then in the winter. And basically, it is just an amazing place where you can thrift and you can find all of these incredible treasures at different price points. And so I was thrifting there and I found these really cute Valentine's cards and I thought, oh, that would make the cutest wreath. And so I purchased a dollar store heart wreath and I attached these vintage Valentines to it. And I love it because of the movement with the actual cards, the cutouts. These are all die cuts. And I kept the back open because, as you can see, there is handwritten notes on here. And I couldn't let that go. I think it's adorable. And then I also, how some of these vintage cards have some really fun movement. So I've linked my blog post showcasing how to make this wreath below, as well as honestly, I think Etsy, if you're not going to find them in person, like at an estate sale or thrifting, Etsy is a great resource for the vintage Valentines. And so this is a really fun project that you can do with vintage Valentines, and obviously it will last you year after year. I made this about 4 years ago and it's still holding up really well. But for today, I thought it'd be fun to showcase a different project using vintage inspired Valentines. And I wanted to show you how to use these because these I got off of Amazon and they're super cute and they're very cost effective. They're not that expensive. And so what can you do with these? You can do a lot of these things with these. You can make wreaths out of them like I did. You can use them as Valentine cards. You can put a cute handwritten note, or you can turn them into decorations. And so that's what we're going to do today. I wanted to show you my wreath to give you inspiration for that, but I also wanted to show you the difference. So these are actual vintage Valentines, and these are the vintage reproductions. So obviously there's a big size difference, and I know that the sizes vary. And I put a roundup below of some of my Amazon favorites, so you can buy them yourself. But the difference is in the size, and then also the color. You can see the colors on these vintage ones are a little bit brighter, and then these colors are a little bit more muted. They're still just as beautiful. And thank you, Christy. I'm so happy that you actually used your own to make cute crafts. I'll have to check them out. There are a lot of options on Amazon, and I have linked some below if you want to check them out. Okay, so let me tell you what we're doing today. I thought it'd be fun to make a garland. You can see behind me I've got a balloon garland up by my pink fridge. Yesterday here in the studio, we had my daughter's 8th birthday party. And the theme was hearts and bows, and so I really went into the Valentine's theme with the pinks and the reds just because I love it so much. And so today we are going to be making a garland using vintage Valentines. And I love this idea because it's so simple, it makes a big impact, and it's very inexpensive. So I'm excited to show you how to do this today. It's a really fun one, and it's a really simple one. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to get your supplies. And again, I got these off of Amazon. I think I got the pack for like $10 and it comes with a whole bunch of them. And I've linked some of my favorites below. Or you can use actual vintage Valentines like I used in my wreath several years ago. It's really up to you and what you have available. I can tell you that these cards can get expensive, and so that's why I was very careful when I was placing these on the wreath, because I just didn't want to ruin them, but I think they're so charming and cute. And yes, Joe, it was a lot of fun, my daughter's birthday party, and I'm sorry you weren't invited. It was for girls. And so anyway, it was a really fun party. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I have this wire mesh ribbon that I'm using. I've just had this in my stash, but you can get this, honestly, I've seen it at Dollar Tree, I've seen it at your local craft store, and I've also linked some below, but I like the runner style because it doesn't get too bulky. And all that I did was when you unroll it, it kind of starts twisting on itself already. And so I kept it like that when I started attaching it, because I think that gives it a really fun movement. And that's what you're really going to, that's what you're going to want to do. Thank you, Joe. I'm so happy to have you here. So that's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to have fun movement with it, and really play off of the different shapes of your Valentine's cards. And so let me show you how to do that now. So for this, you're going to need this mesh ribbon. And you're going to need some vintage inspired Valentine's cards, or again, you can use vintage cards. I've linked both below. It's just your preference. And then you're going to need a hot glue gun, and this is my favorite. This is by Ryobi. It is a cordless hot glue gun, but you can use whatever glue gun you have on hand. Okay, and I also, this is a fun tip. I bought this pan at Home Goods a couple years ago. I fell in love with the color, and I use it on a lot of my hot glue gun projects because when you're working with something like this that's very porous, your glue is going to seep through, and this just protects your work surface, and the metal doesn't ruin, the glue does not ruin the metal like it would on wood or paper or plastic. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to unwind your ribbon. And like I said, it creates this beautiful swirl effect, which is really cool, and that helps adhere your cards to it. Okay, so all you do is you're going to take your cards, and I've got a variety of cards here, and I'm just making sure that I'm not putting similar ones next to each other, but I'm not really going in a pattern. I'm just picking out some cute ones, and I'm going from there. So you're just going to hot glue these directly to your mesh garland. And when I hot glue them, I'm going to kind of flatten this out a bit so that I've got more surface area that will hold my card. And that will also help it from tipping over, because I don't know if you've ever made a garland, but sometimes your garland tips over, and this really helps keeps it upright. So we are going to glue the next one on and decide on your placement. I also like to kind of nestle the cards in between each other. That gives it some fun movement. You can kind of put it up a little bit higher or a little bit lower. Just try not to keep them exactly in line with each other. You can see I've kind of moved them up, and I put some on their side, I put some straight up. I think that adds to it. And it also gives it more stability because you will glue this one to your last one. So we're going to tuck this one behind the cat's bow, but on the cat's ear. So we're going to first hot glue the cat's ear, and we're going to attach the card to the cat's ear. And then we're going to take this ribbon, and I'm just going to continue to pull it so I've got more to work with. And then I'm going to kind of flatten this ribbon, this mesh ribbon. I'm going to flatten it out on my sheet pan. And again, the reason I have this sheet pan is to protect my work surface, because this is mesh and the hot glue will seep through the mesh and it will ruin your work surface. So I'm just going to apply some hot glue directly to the mesh. I'm going to apply it to both sides of the mesh, the top part and the bottom part, so that your card can stick to both sides. And that's very important because if you just attach it to the top part, then the card's going to kind of fall all over the place. And yes, you can use a paperweight. That's a great idea if you don't want if you don't need to glue it down with hot glue. That's a really good tip. Thank you, Christy. So you're just going to hold it in place until the glue is dry. It just takes a little bit of time. And then if you still need to attach a little bit more glue, you can do that here. But again, do not touch your glue, your hot glue. I've been burned many times by hot glue and it doesn't feel good, obviously. Okay, now perfect. So then we're going to take the next one. This is a cute one. And this one I'm going to kind of put it on its side a little bit. So as you can see, I'm just going to kind of tuck it underneath this other one. And so I'm going to hot glue this side so that I know that it adheres to that side. And then I'm going to tuck it underneath just to give it a little bit of movement. And this is so simple. You're going to tell your own story with your unique Valentine's cards. Just have fun with it, making sure there's a little bit of movement. And these are obviously reproductions of the die cuts, but I think they're super charming. And again, the price point is great. I've linked them below if you want them yourself. So here again, we're going to flatten out this mesh ribbon, and then we're going to apply the glue directly to the ribbon, and we're going to make sure that it goes on both sides of this ribbon, okay? And we're just going to flatten it. And again, I'm using this metal sheet pan to protect my work surface and my fingers, because if I were holding this underneath, that would definitely burn my fingers and it would hurt. So, cute. Okay. And then get any whiskers you see. And that's one reason I'm using this wire mesh. When I was thinking about this project, I like to make garlands sometimes out of a craft paper because it's inexpensive. You just kind of roll it up and you attach things to it. But the reason why I chose this mesh is because if you don't cover it, it's still beautiful. So this mesh peeks through. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So even though your focus should be on the cards, the fact that this mesh is peeking through the back, I think that's okay, and I think that adds to the beauty of it. And yes, that is such a great idea, Christy, to use your kids' Valentine cards, some of their favorites. That's a really good idea because they get these Valentine's cards every year, and I don't know which ones to save or what to do with them, or even the ones that they make. That's a really good idea, Christy. Thank you. Okay. So you can see the garland is coming together, and the way that I'm going to do it, I'm just going to do a straight garland. And this actually, I'm going to incorporate it into the balloon garland that you see behind me. Since it's pink and red, it's got the Valentine's theme already. I think that is going to be a great place for it. So we're going to continue, and let me show you the back. You can see I've flattened out this wire ribbon, and I've glued both sides, the top part and the bottom part, to the card. And so this one's hanging a little low, and so I'm going to now take another one that I haven't used yet, like this adorable sugar one, and I'm going to nestle it into and make it a little bit higher to give it some movement, as you can see. Okay? So the first thing is you want to do a dry fit with your card, and then you're going to glue it when you think you found a spot that you like. So I'm going to attach it to the top of the card and the bottom part of the card. Perfect. I'd love to know if y'all decorate for Valentine's Day. I've mentioned on here before that I personally love to decorate for it. I love decorating with hearts. I love decorating with pink and red, so it's just a natural fit for me. But let me know. I would love to know if you do decorate for Valentine's Day, because I know not everybody does. And honestly, I understand when Christmas is over, sometimes it's nice just to have a clean slate. Okay, So again, we're going to attach that hot glue to both sides of this wire mesh. This is a great application for wire mesh. It's a really fun medium. It's beautiful. It's obviously super flexible. Most people use it though with their wreath making, and I don't use it a lot for my wreath making, but maybe I should because I know it's really fun. So most of my garlands are probably about 5 feet long. So it's up to you and what you want to use this for. I'll just keep going. And honestly, these reproduction Valentine's cards are a little bit bigger than the vintage ones, so you don't need that many. Again, I'll show you the difference because I think it's fun to see. These are the vintage cards and these are the reproduction ones. The size is obviously a big difference, but you can see the colors are different as well. And just because I think it's so sweet, I love that these still have the original writing on them, which is why I did not cover that part up. I thought that was a great way to honor those Valentines. They're very, very sweet. Okay, so let's get back to my garland. So I'm going to want to make sure that it's straight. So we're going to continue to flatten out this wire mesh, and we've got this really sweet Queen of Hearts that, again, I'm just going to tuck underneath here. And because you just want that stability from the cards. I like to glue the cards together because if not, your garland might start flopping on itself, and you don't want that. That would be tough. Okay, so if you can see, I'm just attaching and gluing the cards together for the added stability and just to give it some fun movement. I think that's what it's about, the unexpected details. If you just went straight across and attached it to this wire mesh, it wouldn't be as fun because it would just be flat and you wouldn't have that movement and the whimsy. So here we're going to hot glue, again, the back of this card to the wire mesh. And again, really flattening that wire mesh ribbon out so that it can adhere properly to all sides of the back of the card. And when I am at a good stopping point, I'm going to take you over to my pink fridge and my garland, and I want to show you how it looks in my balloon garland. So stay tuned for that. So I think it's turning out really cute. I'm going to do a couple more, but this is just a really, really simple craft. I love crafts like this that don't take but a couple of minutes. I'm sorry, a couple minutes, like at least not longer than an hour, because I know we're all busy, but I think it's so important to take time to create. And so when you do fun crafts like this, then it just really inspires you to do more. And of course, it's so fun to see your creations or to gift them to friends. So I'm going to do this fun phone one. And for this one, since I'm just going to have them peeking over the Queen of Hearts. So I'm actually going to attach it to the top of the Queen of Hearts. And again, you just do whatever feels right for you. Again, just worrying about the movement and making sure that your cards aren't stacked right up on top of each other. Okay, so here I'm going to attach this one. And if you want to get a little extra, you can even make your own felted flowers and kind of put them on top of your garland, or you can do some felted hearts. You could just have a lot of fun with it. And Christy, oh, I love that. You put your wedding cake toppers on top of, with your ornaments and your ribbons for your tree. That is so cute. I love that so much. So happy that you decorate for Valentine's Day. I love it. I think Valentine's Day is a really fun holiday to decorate for. Okay, so I am happy with this. Let me show you. It's getting kind of big, and that didn't take very long. So you're going to hang the garland up, and if you do have any issues with it flopping over, the cool thing about the mesh too is you can take a piece of wire and you can kind of needle it through, And then you can always take fishing string is a fabulous tool to use because you can't see it. And let's say you're putting this on your mantle or you're putting this on a bookshelf. You can kind of use then the fishing string or needle the fishing string through, thread it through, and attach it to your bookshelf that way if you're worried about it flopping over this way. But this is about, let's see, this is close to about 4 feet. You could keep going, but I want to show you a fun application. I'm going to do a little bit more here at the front because I didn't take my own advice and I did not attach it to the front like I should have. So, okay, so I like this. Now I want to take you over to my fridge area and I want to show you how I'm going to incorporate it into my balloon garland. So let's take a short trip over to my fridge area and I can show you what I'm talking about. So here I created a fun balloon garland for my daughter's birthday party, and so I thought it'd be really cute to incorporate the Valentine's Day garland into here. And so what I was thinking is, again, you take the fishing string and you use the holes at the top to kind of thread it through. And then I thought it would be adorable to then just place it over like so and then attach it to that. How cute would that be? And the cool thing is you can continue to go up with it. It's really up to you. But just by placing it on top of that, that's a fun, unexpected twist with these vintage Valentines. You can also attach it to your mantle. You can attach it to a bookshelf. You could even just put this on top of a table as an actual table runner for Valentine's Day. So really the possibilities are endless, and the cool thing about this is you can use it year after year, and it's just a really fun garland. And then you can even add to it. You could just hot glue fun Valentines on top of it. Like Christy was saying, you could take your kids or grandkids' Valentines and attach them to the top each year. So anyway, I hope you feel inspired to start playing with some Valentine's decorations this year and some vintage inspired Valentine's decorations. It really adds just the perfect touch of whimsy and charm. And I don't know, it makes me smile, and I hope it does to you too. So thank you so much for joining me today for episode 20 of Coffee and Crafting. I hope to see you next Monday here on Facebook at noon Central Standard Time for another episode of Coffee and Crafting. I hope you'll have a beautiful week, and I'll talk to you soon, guys. Thank you.